Hey guys, hello all fellow Fallout fans. There is a bit of news about Fallout 4, which is actually kind of funny news because I called it, sort of. Um, you guys seem to like it when I let you guys know on some Fallout 4 news, so I thought that I would let you know since there was a bit of Fallout 4 news. And hopefully, you guys can be better informed and all that good stuff. So, this is about the PC version. There is a little bit about console versions as well. I'll get the console version stuff out of the way. A couple of days ago, the game went gold, and I saw a couple comments where people were saying were a bit confused. They thought that the game was coming out early. That's not what it means. When a game goes gold, what that means is that they have basically had it approved to be put on a disc and to be shipped to GameStop and places like that to be sold. So when a game goes gold, that just means it's ready. That's the version that they're going to release it in. Initially, they could, after testing it for a little while, before the game comes out, they could make a day one patch that sometimes happens where they fix a couple of problems that were in the game in the version that they thought was good. But for the most part, it's the version that we're going to get on opening day. So that's what that's a bit of news regarding Fallout 4 for the console people who are interested. That does also obviously apply to PC as well. That means that that's the version that we're gonna get as well. So that's good. It's not really surprising when they said that the game was done already at the E3 conference. It's not very surprising that the game's already gold. I'm actually surprised it took that long. If they were done, they must have done quite a bit of bug testing and stuff like that since E3. If the game was already done at E3 and then they were just bug testing and stuff like that. So we can hope that they fix a lot of bugs. So what's the news then? What's the big news? If you remember when I did my last Fallout 4 news video, I was talking about the disparity between the AMD and the NVIDIA, system requirements. And I was saying the stuff that they recommend for AMD is a lot stronger than the stuff that they're recommending for NVIDIA. And you might also remember that I said that's usually the case when a game is like a NVIDIA game, so it's going to run better on NVIDIA graphics cards, so you don't need as powerful of a graphics card. Well, guess what? The new news is that Fallout 4 will, in fact, be using NVIDIA GameWorks. What NVIDIA GameWorks is, the really simplified version, is it's just a couple of features that are exclusive to NVIDIA cards. You can still turn these features on in AMD cards, but usually you have to go in through the README files and stuff like that and fix it in the files. It usually doesn't let you in the game settings, but you can turn it on. A perfect example of this is in Borderlands. Borderlands 2 was a NVIDIA game, and it had PhysX, which is their kind of brand. If you watched my Killing Floor 2 video that I just recently did, that had PhysX. It's basically just physics. Really, really demanding physics that only NVIDIA cards are supposed to be able to do. But in Borderlands 2, you could actually go into the files and turn PhysX on, even if you had an AMD card, and it would work just fine, except there was quite a bit of a performance impact compared to the NVIDIA side, because obviously the NVIDIA card is made to do that. So that is kind of a good and a kind of a bad thing. You may be thinking, okay, well, that's just good, extra graphics and stuff like that. They might use PhysX or something like that for Fallout 4, and that would give it some cool physics. Maybe when you shoot people with, how cool would that be if when you get a critical hit with a plasma gun and their body turns into, that goo pile moves around, it's sliding down hills and stuff like that. That would be awesome, right? Yes and no. The last couple of games to come out using NVIDIA GameWorks have been terrible. Absolutely terrible. The two noteworthy games... Oh no, my computer just... I'm editing the next Soma video right now. But the last two games to come out using GameWorks, like big AAA games, were Assassin's Creed Unity, which is terrible. Like, it's just terrible. There's no way around it. It's a horrible PC port because, you know, a large part of that is because of NVIDIA GameWorks. It just is. But obviously, there's the other problem of they didn't put a lot of work into the PC port because they didn't care. The other notable game that used GameWorks is Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight, which ran great on consoles, but ran terribly on the PC, and it was just a train wreck. And we also know that that was, in large part, to them not really caring about the PC crowd as well, and they only had like 15 dudes working on the port or something like that. So we know that it's obviously those two games. It's not just because of NVIDIA GameWorks, but it's not a good track record, to say the least. So, what does this mean in the big picture for PC gaming of Fallout 4? A couple things. We can either blindly praise and trust Bethesda, which, I mean, it's not that I don't think that we should, just because they do make fantastic games and stuff like that, but I don't think we should blindly trust anybody, and we should go into this realistically and having realistic expectations. So the realistic expectations for this is that the game could just run like shit on AMD graphics cards. I mean, honestly, like, that's probably what it'll be. It'll be... When it comes out, when Fallout 4 comes out, there will be a patch of, a bunch of patches and drivers and stuff like that, specifically for NVIDIA cards, okay, to prepare for Fallout 4. I think that's going to give Fallout 4 an advantage on NVIDIA, and I feel like it'll run, you know, pretty good on NVIDIA cards. We'll also have advantage where we could, you know, use some of those features like PhysX and stuff like that. It's not said that if it's going to use PhysX or you know, specifics of NVIDIA GameWorks, but I mean, I'm just assuming that it will, obviously. I mean, seriously, how cool would that be? The goo pile? The goo pile? Come on, that would be so cool. It's like rolling down a hill. Like, God, that would be so cool. Or like laser rifles, you know? They're powder, and then the powder's like moving. Another GameWorks, NVIDIA GameWorks thing is hair. You know, like Hairworks, I think it's called. Something like that. I haven't played Witcher 3 yet, but it's in Witcher 3. The thing that makes hair like, woo! You know, move and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, the game's not going to run as well on AMD cards. That's what I said weeks ago when I did the vlog on the Fallout 4 news. I said that. A couple people, you know, didn't believe me, and they're like, no, just mindlessly believe in Bethesda and Fallout 4 and stuff like that. And I do believe in, you know, Bethesda and Fallout 4, and I do believe that Fallout 4 will be a fantastic game. It's just a matter of we need to have realistic expectations. And realistically, Bethesda games are known for having a lot of bugs, a lot of glitches, and not being too great on PC, you know, right out the bat. Eventually they get there. Eventually, you know, PC will become like the superior platform, and once there's mods and stuff out for Fallout 4, there will hardly be an option. It'll be like, no, you need to play this game on PC. And I know there will be mods for the consoles, but the mods won't be nearly as good or as extensive as the mods on PC, and that's just the fact of it. You're not going to be able to rewrite files and textures and stuff like that in mods on consoles. It won't let you do that. That's not how console gaming works. I think that a lot of people are a bit confused, and they hear, oh yeah, mods on console, and they think that that's going to give them the full variety of stuff, of access to mods that PC people have. That's not the case. You're not going to be able to get, you know, all the mods that PC people will. I mean, that's just a fact of the matter. I'm sorry to break it to you, but there's going to be a heavy filter on what Bethesda lets onto consoles. It's going to go through Bethesda. It's not going to be like PC, where you're going through, Nexus mods or something else, and you're getting the files from there. No, this is going to be approved by Bethesda, going through Bethesda. I'm sure there will be some workarounds for getting, some mods onto the console. But, I mean, honestly, you're not going to ever have as much mod access as PC. So I think eventually PC will become, the number one, like the level of Fallout 4. But right out of the gate, you're probably going to be better off on console, just because, I mean, unless you have a beast of a PC like I do, things aren't looking great for the PC version, unfortunately. But hey, this is all preemptive. Remember, we're just basing this on previous NVIDIA GameWorks games. From what they have said, from the article that I read, they want to make this like the Grand Theft Auto 5 PC port, which, I mean, everybody should know the Grand Theft Auto PC port is fantastic. It runs, even though it is it a specific brand's game? I don't know if it is, but the point of it is that GTA 5 runs fantastic on AMD cards, and it runs just as fantastic on NVIDIA cards. They are saying that that's the way that Fallout 4 is going to be. But I think we're all a little smarter than that, and I think we all realize, okay, if NVIDIA is partnering with Bethesda for this game, it's going to run better on NVIDIA cards. I mean, I think we're all smart enough to just know that right off the bat and not blindly believe that it's going to run just as good. That's just how it's going to be. That's how the PC market works. The PC market has never been like the console. It's never been an even playing field. It's not like they're making the game for one level of machine. Like in consoles, they make a game for PS4. They know every single PS4 has the same power, and they're all going to be able to run it. On PC, it's completely different. They have to make the game for multiple scales. They have to make the game for, the minimum requirements, where you can just barely get this thing playing at like 30 frames per second at like 720p. Then they need to prepare it for, the recommended settings, which is like, probably 45 or 50 frames per second in 1080p with, medium or high settings. And then they need the high, people like me who have several $1,000s of hardware in their PC, and they're expecting to run this game at 1080p or 1440p at maximum settings, getting 60 frames per second, and having all the bells and whistles on, having that Hairworks on, having that PhysX on, and still being able to get 60 frames per second. I mean, you saw from my Killing Floor 2 video, even though it was short, it was still 1080p, it was still 60 frames per second, everything was maxed out, and it had PhysX, it had all of that stuff. So, I mean, it's just going to be a matter of how well the game is optimized, and, I mean, I'm not going to blindly trust like some of you guys are. I understand Todd Howard, our Lord and Savior. I want to just believe that he's going to, make this game fantastic. But, I mean, the end of realistically, it's not Todd Howard's call or anything like that. It's the dudes in suits and the executives that are making this decision, and they're partnering with NVIDIA. So if you have an AMD card, I would wait. I wouldn't pre-order the game. I would wait and see what the performance is going to be. But that was the news for Fallout 4. Just wanted to keep you guys caught up. If there's any other news or anything like that, I'll go ahead and make another vlog letting you guys know. But hopefully now you're better informed. And yeah, this won't count as a video. There will still be 2 Soma videos on Monday. So bye. Hope you all enjoy your day.